A couple of years ago, following the Ray Rice incident, the Administrative Office of the Courts was inundated with a large number of bills by many legislators regarding how to address the domestic violence issue in the state of New Jersey. And as a result, the Chief Justice Ravner put together an ad hoc committee on domestic violence, of which I was selected to be the Republican Assembly member. It included Senator Weinberg, Senator Allen, Assemblyman, now Senator Troy Singleton, and myself. And it was a group of approximately 25 members who included law enforcement, judiciary, judges across the state. There were professors of law at Rutgers and at Seton Hall, attorneys on the plaintiff's side as well as the defendant's side. And together we tried to look at the problem of domestic violence and the way we were handling the issue in the state of New Jersey. And what we found was that there were parts of the state that were doing an excellent job in providing services, and there were parts of the state that were doing a less excellent job. And the goal was to make sure that everybody in the state who needed the services was given the same level of service. And also, we were assigned with looking at areas, gaps in services across the state and what we could do as a legislature to fix these gaps. And as a result, we had recommendations that we sent to Chief Justice Ravner, and those recommendations resulted in pieces of legislation. And two of the pieces of legislation today, of which I'll speak, came out of that ad hoc committee and were recommended and voted on by all the members of the ad hoc committee. So it was a discussion, recommendation, a vote, and then on to the legislature. And these went through the Assembly last session and approved by Judiciary. And my hope is that this will happen again and that we'll get it through the Assembly, through the Senate, and signed into law. As you may have all seen, last week we had an incident in Newark where a person who was, there's a woman who was a victim of domestic violence, and I'm not sure what the marital relationship with her partner shot her to death, and then actually the car chase ended 1 mile from my house in Summit, New Jersey, where the Summit police arrested him. This fellow had been released from prison, released by the judge in Newark. And, you know, it shows you where we need more education regarding what the risks are to the victim of domestic violence and what we can do to as protection. So one of the bills is for mandatory training for municipal prosecutors. What we discovered when we were in our committee was that there was required training on domestic violence for many groups, but the municipal prosecutors had been omitted, and they were specifically omitted because two of the legislators who wrote the legislation were municipal prosecutors. This was back in 1998, and so we saw that they're no longer in the Assembly, but we saw that there was a need that there be special education for the municipal prosecutors, again because of the particular risks to the victims and also what the interventions are that are appropriate. You know, in the past there was a belief that the intervention should be anger management, and that is no longer the case. And Nicole Morella from the Coalition to End Domestic Violence will testify today. And what you saw is anger management is not the treatment, the intervention of choice. It's veterans intervention programs. But that's an aside. But that's all part of the process of making sure that our municipal prosecutors are educated and trained in the best policies going forward. So this bill would require that all new municipal prosecutors, this is A860, would be within 90 days of appointment would have to receive this education, and then once a 4-year education program every year annually, specifically on this topic. And I think this would go a long way to assisting our municipal prosecutors in making wise decisions on how to treat these cases. And that's A860. A874 requires training for police officers and assistant county prosecutors concerning domestic violence cases. Again, the same reasoning, so that they have up-to-date current information on the best policies, how to handle the cases, how to best serve the victims, and how to best provide information for both the victims and the defendants on how to seek help.